Level Nation. I hope everyone is blessed. I'm truly blessed. I hope everyone is doing well, and it's good to be before you one more time. This time, I wanted to share a little bit of our story when it comes to Baby J here and the IVF journey. I know there's a lot of families and people in relationships that are going through the same journey or a similar journey that my wife and I have gone through. But I also wanted to share it from a perspective of from the husband side. You know, males are very visual, so going through this journey and not knowing what's next, and also um, it's real faith driven. You have to really put your faith and hope in the Lord because you don't know. You know, this whole journey started with us checking out a clinic that was brought to us by our auntie. And I told my wife, like, let's go check it out. Let's just go see what it's about. Let's go get all the information that we could get from them, and we just gonna see. It's kind of like one of those things where we trying to manifest this. So we're gonna go as if we're ready to start. So went to a clinic in Irvine, California, and it was just awesome because not only was it sent to us by our auntie, who is a prayer warrior, but we got there, and the IVF doctor that is there, Dr. Kushner, is an IVF baby himself. So some of the things that we started to see and witness was kind of like confirming our steps as far as our faith and how God was leading us. So we went down there, got all the information, didn't know anything about how we were going to pay for the price that they gave us. That made my heart stop slightly, but we just put it in God's hands, and one thing after another started to line up. And next thing you know, or next thing we know, about, I would say 3 months later, 3 to 4 months later, we were getting started with the process. Now, how? I can't tell you. Did we know? Not at all. Because with IVF, I don't know about all these different clinics now, but one we went to, they require payment up front. So ain't no, what I'm saying, after pay. Ain't no you know, ain't none of that. They make sure that it's there because of all the things and all the people they have to pay, the medicine, all that stuff has to be taken care of and has to be there for this process to work. So we man, God blessed us with financing. God blessed us with a village, a family, a mom and dad that just unwavering support. It just shows that, it shows how much it means to have that village and that support and that family behind you. And so we just continue to walk by faith. We went down there each appointment. Some stuff came up, and it's like, man, we have to have faith through this. Don't know how this is another obstacle after another, but we just kept moving forward, kept moving forward. God was answering prayers. God's leading us, and I just remember, we got to the point where it was time to transfer the embryos, um, and Portia, my wife, was like, "Oh man, you got to call my husband." Nah, I can't. That's too much pressure. You got to call him, because I think it was about 2 weeks after the transfer. A week. Wait, was it a week or 2 weeks? 2 weeks after the transfer, we were waiting. Just days going by, and we're getting close, and it's like, oh, they're supposed to call us tomorrow and let us know. Man, and that day came, and I got the call, and I was, and I heard the door close in the back, like, let me know. And I couldn't even hold it when she was like, hey, we're not, because we transferred 2 embryos back. And from there, it was like, we got the call, and I'm like, here we go. And she confirmed, was like, hey, based on the levels, like, you're definitely pregnant, and it's looking like you have two. So we were expecting twins. And we were super excited. I think the next few days, or a few days after that news, we were going down to the clinic for our next appointment, and to do our first ultrasound to check on the babies and make sure everything was good. And that's where it starts to take a turn, because everything was good. We checked on it. We were doing the ultrasound, saw the first baby, everything looks healthy, proper, and then we move to the right, and it's a empty apartment or an empty space with no baby inside. So they were like, so that happens sometimes, but it's interesting that the space, like naturally the space was created, but the baby wasn't there. So they're like, as long as the baby didn't travel, then travel and implant somewhere else, then we should be safe. And that's exactly what happened. Ectopic pregnancy, I think, is what it's called. The baby had implanted in one of her fallopian tubes, and that is extremely dangerous. So we went from the high of like, oh, we're pregnant, oh, we're getting ready to have a baby, he and she, or she or he, because we came up with so many names for the different combinations of the twins. So and we went from knowing that we are pregnant to rushing to the hospital for emergency surgery. So, boom, that's already my emotions and everything's in turmoil, especially being more physical and visual. Like I was saying, you're like, man, I don't know. You physically can't do anything. I'm not no doctor. I don't know. I can't do nothing but support her and pray for her. And at the time, based on the repercussions of COVID, like when you go to hospitals now, they sometimes they don't let nobody in, but sometimes just one. And my mother being a nurse, I want her to be in there and make sure they treating her and doing everything proper and right. So I'm just walking around Irvine, California, just going from up here to not all the way down, but definitely like scared and worried, but not. I put my trust and hope in the Lord, but it's harder sometimes said than done. So we go through that, and thank God it's successful surgery. They had to remove her whole fallopian tube. With oh, I'm sorry, ovary. Really? Okay, they had to remove her right ovary where the um, baby had implanted, and they successfully were able to do that and not um, do any harm or do anything that was abrasive to the baby that was currently there. So from there, she's healing and everything's good. Going back and getting it checked up, making sure the other baby's growing fine and everything's good. And I don't know if anyone who's watching knows this, but IVF is definitely something that you have to stay prayed up all the way to the end. You never know because it's um, a high risk pregnancy. So the whole time we're on eggshells and making sure that she's not doing too much, allowing her body to receive and also not be too stressed out. So from there, we're going back to our appointments. Everything is good. And then one of our, I think it was on one of our ultrasounds, they noticed a amniotic band. And I didn't look up any of that or what that means, but there's an amniotic band that was near her in the womb. And those are, I guess, known for doing some harm to the baby as they develop, and especially when they start to run out of room in the womb. So I didn't look up, but my mom and my wife were telling me some stories, and I'm just thankful to God that I did not research that while she was growing and in the womb, because that would have definitely made it worse or harder than what it already was and what we were praying for. So, but we had a second check on that, and they said that everything looks good and it shouldn't be in the way. So, we just had faith that okay, boom, prayed, and make sure that is going to stay out the way. Um, and then from there, everything seemed to be smooth. Everything was good. And the day, let's see. Oh, oh, yeah. So okay. So after that, smooth for maybe like, yeah, maybe 2 months. And I come home from work, and we were just talking. I was checking on Portia, making sure she's okay, seeing what she needed. And I forgot what happened, and she had turned around and looked at me, and I was like, "Man, stop playing! What you doing?" Like she was looking at me, and she gonna get mad at me. But when like Pirates of the Caribbean, like, so, but one side of her face, and we joke about it now because we already knew that God was gonna work it out, but and it was very stressful at the time because we didn't know what it meant. But she ended up having Bell's palsy in one side of her face where some of the muscles, I guess they were saying it's like like a viral thing where some of the um, muscles or some of the nerves in the face on one side of the face or sometimes both or just depending on how it takes place will droop slightly and you'll lose some of the it's basically temporary paralysis in a portion of the face or depending on where, like I said, wherever it takes place. And that was another scare because we're like, man, did you have a stroke? Or making sure that everything's good there. And so just pressing through that and also having to keep her encouraged because of different things that meant, like taking pictures for the baby shower, taking pictures for the gender reveal, doing different things as we grew through the journey. um, Definitely impacted her, but at the same time I tried to counteract the negative feelings by keeping her encouraged. So that was just one more thing that we had to fight through. um, and then so like from there everything seemed to be good. um from our IVF clinic we transferred to our regular OB, um which saw us weekly, so we were going weekly to make sure the baby was good all the way up to delivery. And man, labor, whoo, man, I've never witnessed someone in pain like that. um Someone in pain like that, but for something that's so beautiful, if that makes sense. Like where me and my mom trying to coach her through pain because this whole thing we were trying to do natural. And don't get me wrong, I'm more of the support. So whatever my wife was saying and whatever however she wanted to do it, I'm supporting you because I'm not the one that's going through that situation and that pain of childbirth. And let me tell you, when that pain got to throw on them right hooks and left hooks and uppercuts and jabs, she was like, please, Lord, bring in the epidural. And so the epidural and the anesthesiologist came in to do the epidural. And this was, as we got there Monday at like 1 or 2 or something like that. And mind you, like I said about hospitals, they didn't let me back because they were like, oh, we're going to check to see if she's in labor, see if she's dilated. And okay, man, they had me standing up there for 5 hours like I was at the DMV on the busiest day that they open. Okay. And I'm like, man, and mind you, goes for all the dads. Okay. I have physically seen how they do not care about us. And however, I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna boop and show you what they call the dads on the board in the labor room. I'm like, man, they just don't care. They don't care about us, and they don't care about the family structure. And that's a whole lot. That's a whole different thing because God is the one that developed and basically gave us, well, not basically, did give us marriage and instituting the family. So dad, mom, kids, that's the family. How now, whatever everybody else believes, hey, that's on you. That's what you believe. But I believe in the family and I believe in the marriage. And so when it comes to mom, then there needs to be a section up there for dad, not support person or whatever they put. That's trash. I don't care how you try to explain it. That's trash. If you want to be a support person, have another line for the support person. But I'm definitely the father up in this joint. Okay. So sorry, I had to get that out the way. I had to vent that. I was up in there feeling some type of way. Okay. So so yeah, we got there. They had me waiting, in which I had to go back home, make sure things were okay at home. We have two fur babies at the house that was waiting on their sister to come into the world, so I had to check on them. And I rushed back. Got to the hospital about. I got back to the hospital maybe around when she got, because they ended up admitting her, and basically was like, "Hey, it's game time. When you leave here, you're gonna have your baby girl. So I got back. I think it was just getting dark, so maybe like 6 or 7 when they finally admitted her and allowed my mom and us to get to her. Is that before this we couldn't see her or get to her in the labor and delivery ward. So we got there, and so I guess the it went from waiting for naturally for her labor to start and her water to break to she's going to be getting induced, um, to make sure that the baby's health and everything is good, along with the timeline that we were on, because we were about 38 weeks and 3 days or so, in far along into the pregnancy. So they were like, okay, they started taking different vitals, seeing the baby's heart rate and everything. They're like, if they we think that the best course of action is to induce and get this baby out and get her ready for the world, and making sure that she's nice and healthy and not stressing her too long or waiting and something takes place. So boom, so they give her, I don't know all the specific names, that to give her something that evening to start the induction process, if that's, I think that's the right word. So they give her that, and that whole night we're all in the we're in the little room that they gave us, and we're just chilling. And maybe midway through the night, early in the morning, maybe like 2-3 in the morning, I started to hear my wife going through contractions. That's what, because I'm going off of movies. I see, I'm not seeing none of that. So I'm like, oh, okay, so we got some time. But contractions are starting, and my wife's pain threshold is pretty high. So the first night was smooth ish. In the morning, had to go back to the house, do a few things, run a few errands, especially before everything got real serious, and my wife and my mom really were awake and things of that sort. So I ran, came back, and when I came back, and I tell you that it jumped from 0 to 100, like pain was like, when you get hit so hard that you're looking for something to grab, like somebody just come up and slap the, like, okay, we're in 2020, somebody come up and slap you to 2027, and you trying to grab something, because it's it was like that. Like the pain went from okay to trying to grab on to so man, just trying to coach and encourage and help her through that. And I mean, from that point, because labor was pretty much altogether 24 hours. So from that point on, whew, and that's where we're back at the epidural. So finally got the epidural, and we had to coach her through that too, because you have to be completely still during that time. And they basically were explaining it to where it's like, so if you have this right here, right, and this is your spine, they lean you, you're on the table, and they lean you forward like this, so they can stretch your spine out to be able to send this needle through the gap of your spine, and a catheter to go in wherever the spot is that's in like your back, that will affect the leg area and the area where they're having the baby, to be able to reduce the pain that they're going through. So we're telling her all this, like, hey, you about to have to be still, because this is serious. Like the repercussions of moving during an epidural, we didn't even want to think about that. So we coached her through all that, and then I tried to keep my patience for the male anesthesiologists that were in the room, because I was about to throw them out. But they did cool, and I made it through that, and so did Portia. She made it through gracefully. Um, but man, when I tell you, shortly after, they were like, "All right, let's check to see dilation." We're talking about, she went from, like, I think it was either 3 or 4 to fully dilated. We were like, she was like, "Oh, you're ready." And on this board behind them, right, they're showing like little levels of the dilation of where we need to get to. And I'm like, she's at the bagel? Oh, she's at the bagel. Oh, she's at the bagel. That's crazy. So, it's, hey, they were like, it's push time. And I'm like, oh, I'm not, I'm just like, oh, I'm about to see her. Ooh. Ooh. So, yeah. So all these people start coming in, right? And they hit me with the biggest pump fake. Man, we got to pushing, and they were like, "Yeah, yeah, she's so tired from just being in pain all day that her pushes are not strong enough to get the baby to move down the birth canal. So we're gonna let you labor down." I'm like, "Labor? What is labor down?" And the doctor's like, "Well, we're gonna allow her to keep going through labor, allow the baby to naturally come down further, and y'all just chill and rest and try to get some sleep." I'm like, "Get some sleep? She's having contractions every few what seconds to minutes. How are you supposed to sleep?" Well, epidural started kicking in. Epidural start kicking in, and she was like, she was like, "Oh, I'm feeling good." Next thing you know, we all sleep. I turned the lights off. We all relaxed in there. They finally brought another chair. So me and my mom, we had a comfortable chair to sit, and we was knocked out, I think, for at least 30, 35 minutes. And when I tell you, because the doctor had a C-section to do down the street. So the doctor went and did that, and then basically was like, "I'm gonna go do that and come back. By that time, you guys should be ready to deliver." Well, when she got back, man, we was all knocked out. She came in, flipped on the light, "Time to have this baby," and I'm like, "What?" I jumped. I mean, you know how you wake up I'm talking about good sleep, because we were going through the whole thing just basically off maybe 4 hours of sleep. Well, jump up. All these people start coming in the room. They started, man, then they started announcing who they are. "I'm the NICU nurse. I'm here to make sure your baby gets the da 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 da. I'm this nurse. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be." And then the doctor finally walks in, like, "All right, we having this baby. Come on." And so it's push time. It's crazy. So I'm turning around. I'm seeing all these people. I'm like, oh man, I'm about to be a dad in a few seconds. It's crazy. And so from that point, we're pushing we're pushing, and the baby's kind of doing similar to the first time. And the doctor's like, "Man, we gotta get this baby out," because she was starting to get stressed in there. We could see on her heart, her heart rate was starting to show that she was being stressed for being in the birth canal for so long. So the doctor was like, "Okay, we got an option. We got this like vacuum thing that's very soft, like on the top is a sponge, to where you don't have to worry about it being so abrasive on the top of the head, like how they used to use vice grips and things like that, and it would really affect the baby's head. This, after a certain amount of pressure, just pop off, so that way it doesn't do no damage. But it could be the the pull plus the push that we need to get her on out. And um and then so I'm looking at my mom like, "You think we should do that, or you think we should keep pushing?" And she's like, "I think you should do whatever. Like, we need to get her out. So let's try it. Like, the doctor knows what she's doing." So, and I'm telling Portia like, "Come on, you got it, right?" First, yeah, and we started praying. We started calling on Jesus, and like, "We need you. We need you. We need your strength. We need your courage." Well, so we had like maybe two pushes after that. Boom. Or no, I think we did one push, and then she got the vacuum. She was like, "All right, we're gonna try this on the next contraction." Man, that from that push and using the vacuum, we were like, "Oh yeah." I told Portia, and mind you, I got to back up a little bit. Before she used the vacuum, she was like, um, she had told one of her nurses like, "Hey, go prepare the OR," and we were like, "OR," and then Portia's like, I ain't getting no cesarean." So she was like, "Lord, please help me push." And so, um, on that one, that's where I was telling her like, "Hey," I was like, I could like almost see like she's about to, if you one more good push, and she's coming." And I was looking down like that. That's why I'm doing that in the camera, because I was looking at her like this. And so I was like, "One more push, and she's gonna be here." And so it was crazy because it was like the movies. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, ah, come on, ah! And then boom, she. I mean, man, and my mom was on the other side, so when she came out, boom, her head came out, and we were like, oh! I was looking at my mom. I was like, Portia, you did it, we did it. It was crazy, crazy experience. Oh man, like best experience. It's crazy because yes, there's pain and all that involved, but it's just to go through the whole journey and then see that baby that you've prayed for good health, prayed for all the limbs, prayed for a good brain function and lung function and everything, just good operating healthy baby. And to see your blessing just boom from not being there to there. I truly got to the point where I was praying and like I continue to pray for God's will in my life. And I got to the place where if it was his will for me not to be a parent, I still was with the Lord and still going to be with the Lord through everything. And I just think it's interesting because the word that really um, stuck out to me through this whole thing is unbelievable. It's like, yes, I did believe. And yes, I do and did know that God could do it. But when you pray for it and leave it with him and, truly leave it in God's hands as far as, Lord, whatever your will is and whatever you want, I know that if it's according to your will, that if we are blessed with it, then it's going to be a blessing that's more solid. It's going to be a blessing that um, is actually meant to be and not something that we're trying to force or something that is not good for whatever we have or whatever we're striving for in our life. So, I truly got to that place. And so for God to answer prayer and for God to do it and for God to allow my wife and I to be parents of this beautiful, beautiful baby girl is just unbelievable. It's such a blessing. And it's even hard for me, to sit here and talk because it's like I'm lost for words. The feeling of it is just one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt in my life. So with those that are going through a long journey, even if it's something different than IVF, but those who are going through IVF, just want to encourage you to stay with your faith, especially the men, especially the husbands. Um, oh, she wanted to say something, so but continue to be there for your wife. She needs all the love and support that she can get, and it just makes your baby and your bundle of joy that much greater, and that it makes you that much more thankful because you and your wife are in this together, and it's a team thing. Because you definitely, once she comes, it's definitely takes a team and a village. So continue to press forward. Continue to know that God is with you, and if it's according to God's will, He will do it. And be more excited about how He's going to do it, and not if He's going to do it. Another thing is continue to pray without ceasing, and watch God. If it's in His will, watch Him do it. That's where we come back to the word unbelievable again. Like, it's just unbelievable. I'm still in a place where I'm trying to wrap my mind around being a dad of a baby girl that I have to pour into, just give everything and that I got, to give her the best life and pour in her relationship with the Lord because she definitely has a blessing on her life. So many things have already taken place that has confirmed that. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and just to give my story about how that took place for me and my wife and our family. I just want to encourage y'all, keep walking, keep stepping, but ultimately keep your hand in God's hand because He will see you through and He knows the desires of your heart. So just have faith. I'm telling you, God could do crazy, unimaginable, um, just God things that only He could do. But I encourage you to have the faith, do what you're supposed to do on your end, so God can bless you, and God can can do what only He does, because we do what we do. We leave the results to God. And I just want to encourage all the dads out there. Let's be strong. Let's be where we're supposed to be. We got a lot of situations out there where there's an empty space where the dads and the fathers are. So let's make sure we're on our P's and our Q's and on our watch. We on the wall. We watching over our families. We making sure we do the 3 P's. We promote, we protect, and we provide. So with all that being said, I created a song called Unbelievable, and it basically encapsulates everything that I was just expressing. It's something that is hard to express and takes your words away, especially when you know God loves you and you know that God answered your prayers. So just continue to believe in Him and know that He could do all things. Big faith, big God. Little faith, little God. So I wanted to come on here and bless you, Level Nation. Don't want to take too much of your time, but make sure to tune into Unbelievable. It'll help you build your faith as well, and it'll help remind you that God can do it in your life if He's done it in mine. So, Level Nation, I encourage y'all, put your hand in God's hand. I love y'all. Let's continue to strive to be the best. Higher level everything.
Hey, okay, let me do this.
Unbelievable, like a miracle, still answers prayer. Unbelievable, like a miracle, God still answers prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. God still answers prayer, and He's always there. Even when you think you're all alone, He's always near. He'll never forsake you. God's word is so true. You can call Him up and ask for God to answer your call. It's truly unbelievable. Like a miracle. God still answers prayer. Unbelievable. Like a miracle. Still answers prayer. Unbelievable. Like a miracle. God still answers prayer. God still answers prayer. God still answers prayer, and He's always there. Even when you think you're all alone, He's always near.
Hey, okay, let me do this.